everybody, my name is Jennifer Maker. Welcome to the Great Maker Show and Tell. Today we are making family celebration and birthday boards. I first learned about these when a friend of mine mentioned that she had made one, and I realized what a wonderfully brilliant idea this is. With a family celebration and birthday board, you don't ever have to worry about forgetting an important birthday or anniversary ever again. Yes, we can use our calendars and our phones for this, but this is so much cuter, don't you think? So the way that it works is you have a hook for each month of the year across the bottom here. And on the hooks, you have the names and dates of each celebration. And then you can tell at a glance what important dates are coming up. Isn't that amazing? So to make this family birthday board, you're going to need a board. I got mine from my local Joann craft store. You can paint it if you want. You don't have to. I painted mine with a white and copper distressed look, and I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. You're also going to need eye hooks and jump screws. And I cut out my little circles and hearts on my Cricut Maker using 1/16 inch thick basswood. But you can buy pre-cut circles and squares, just make it out of cardboard. You're also going to need some self-adhesive vinyl to decorate your board and personalize it. Now I've created some decorative birthday and celebration decals for you to use if you would like, and you can personalize it yourself using my knockout tutorial. Be sure to look for that link below this video. Just think how amazing it would look with your own family name on this, right? So let me first show you how I painted this celebration board and we'll get underway. So your first step is to prepare your board. You can really do that in any way that you want. I'm choosing to do a copper metallic underpaint and then paint it over with a chalk paint. And I'm actually going to be brushing away some of that chalk paint so you can see the copper metallic underneath. I love copper, so that's why I'm choosing to do this, and I think it gives it a really unique look. So I begin with painting it copper. I could spray paint this instead of, just use acrylic paint, but this is what I felt like doing, and it does dry a little faster, I think. So I painted it all with copper. Be sure you get the sides and all the little crevices. You can see it. I missed a little bit right there, so we get everything. You don't have to paint it back, of course. And then once it's dry, we will put on the white chalk paint. I gave this a few hours to dry so that it would be good and dry. We don't want it to accidentally be rubbing off our copper paint as well. The chalk paint goes on in a similar way. You just brush it on. It's thicker. And I needed to put a little bit more on because I really wanted to cover up that copper and make sure it was applied, reasonably even. I mean, it can be. This is sort of a shabby chic, I can't say that word, shabby chic look. So it's okay if it's not perfect, but reasonably even looks good, I think. And then to distress it, I'm actually going to not wait until my chalk paint is completely dry. I could, of course, do that. There's a lot of different ways of distressing paint. I did a test recently when I made my whiteboard, and I tried a bunch of different ways of doing it. And I found that one of the ways that I really liked to do it was to do it while the paint was still just a bit wet. So about half an hour to an hour after I painted it. And then I just take a wet paper towel and I rub it along the places that I want to see the undercoat show through, and the top layer comes off and I can see the metallic layer, right? And I think that this works really well, and it's not difficult. I'm not using anything extra like beeswax or rubber cement, which are also techniques. You can also use sandpaper, but this was, pretty soft wood, and I thought it would be fine, just to use the paper towel. I didn't want to, using sandpaper sometimes it can take off too much of the undercoat. So again, there's a lot of different ways of doing it. This, I felt, for this case was the simplest way, and I was done with the painting on this project within just like 4 hours. And it turned out really cute. I love the way that you can see that metallic underneath. Okay, for step 2, it's now time to measure, mark, and insert the 12 eye screws for the 12 months of the year on your family celebration board. The eye screws will hold the date markers for your family celebrations. The best way to do this is to measure your board, subtract about 2 to 3 inches to make sure you have sufficient space on either end of your board, and divide the resulting number by 12 for the 12 months of the year. So I had a 20-inch board. I subtracted 2 inches, leaving me with 18 inches. I divided 18 by 12 to get 1.5 inches. That meant I needed to space my eye screws out with 1.5 inches in between each one for a nice even placement of my date markers. Thus, I made a mark every 1.5 inches along the bottom of my board. The easiest way to do this is to measure 1 inch from the end of the board and then mark every 1.5 inches. I didn't do it the easy way. I started in the center and moved out from there. But you do what works best for you. Once your board is marked, it's time to actually put the eye screws in. I'm using these little eye screws. They're just a bit over 1/4 of an inch, maybe closer to 1/3 of an inch. And I can just screw them right into the bottom. You have to push as you're screwing them in and be patient, but you can definitely get them in by hand if you like. You don't have to do it by hand, of course. You can use a drill and drill a pilot hole. And if you're having any issues, you might want to do that. Or even just some sort of starter hole. You can take a little nail, push it in. Even a thumbtack would work, just to give yourself a little place for that screw to go into. And you want to look like this when you're done. You want to have 12 of them. And if you can, try to set your screws closer to the back of your board than the front of your board, because that way your date markers will not have as much room to sort of twirl around, and the wall, once you put it up on your wall, the wall will keep them in place and keep them nice and straight. So if you have any issues getting them in, just use a drill with a very, very small bit like I have done here, or a nail just to get things started. And you don't have to do this, but I was really into copper. I really love copper, guys. So I just painted each of my eye screws with a little bit of acrylic copper paint, the same copper paint that I used. Yeah, it's not prime first, and it's probably going to rub off and flake off, but it's not like we're going to be touching them that often. They'll probably be fine. And it looked cuter this way. You can do what you want to do here. I just like copper. Okay, so now for step 3, you need to cut or punch out your date markers. Now, I made a template in Cricut Design Space, and I cut all of these out on my Cricut Maker using 1/16 inch thick basswood. You could use cardboard, you could use cardstock, you could just buy pre-made circles and hearts and punch it yourself with a nail or drill it. Whatever works for you. You can also get metal ones, though they're a little pricey, which is why I didn't do that, because I was thinking, hey, I'm going to get copper. But it was a little pricey, definitely. If you want to cut these out on your Cricut using any material that you will work in your Cricut, the SVG cut file for these circles and hearts is on my blog. Okay, for step 4, it's time to decorate your board. I made several different decals that you're welcome to use. And they're all on my blog, just like the circles and the hearts are. I am going to go with family celebrations on mine so that I can put both birthdays and anniversaries on my board, because I want to remember both. So this is a 2-color design. Doesn't have to be, but it's what I've chosen to do. So that's the black vinyl. Always check your vinyl after you take it off to see if you missed any little bits. This looks okay. I don't see anything missing. I have a tendency to not see those little bits there. And then this is the copper layer. I used a really pretty textured foil copper vinyl that it's a Cricut brand. I'll put the link under the video. It's really nice. Like most foil metallic vinyls, it's a little bit trickier to get off because it's stiffer. You see how I'm just using my weeding tool right here to just sort of keep it in place and get it started. And once I do that, it goes a lot faster, right? Because this design is all connected, and that really helps a lot. That's why I chose to put the celebrations line in the copper vinyl instead of the family line, because I knew it would be easier to weed because everything was connected just like this. Be sure to weed out the little bits on the E and the L and the O and the S. They're a little tricky because they're small, and the T too. But you want to get those so that it looks good. And once everything is weeded, it's time to put these 2 layers together. I'm going to use a piece of Cricut transfer tape, and I've cut it to be big enough to fit the the largest part of my design, so the family. Peel that right off, and you want to for this 2-layer design, you're going to want to first layer your biggest layer. So I'm going to put family. So I'm going to transfer my family vinyl to my transfer tape. I like to line it up in case those lines come in handy later, and smooth from the center outward to avoid bubbles and creases and that kind of thing. And we're going to want to make sure that's well adhered to the transfer tape by using our scraper tool, and then gently peel off the backing of the transfer tape. The little stairs will want to stick. You'll have to help them a little bit. Okay, so now we want to put celebrations on. We're just going to set this on our table. But do you see what's happening here? Static has lifted our vinyl up against our transfer tape, not in the position that we want. We need to fix this. What I like to do is tape my layer to my work surface so that I have control over where my transfer tape goes. And then when I know it's in position, I go ahead and press it down from the center outward, just like before. And again, the metallic vinyl is harder to get off. It's just stiffer, and it's almost like the glitter. The glitter is really tough. So you're going to want to help it along. Use your weeding tool. Go really slow, but with patience, you'll get it all off. Okay, so I've placed it on my board. It's centered, and I'm going to scrape it down really, really well because I want it to be stuck on my board. I'm going to pay attention to those serifs because that's where it's going to be. It's going to want to pull off as I'm doing it. And there we go. That looks great. That worked well. So our family celebrations line is on, and I'm going to put the design at the top as well. I cut out a sunflower because I love sunflowers. This design is also in the file if you want to use it. And all right, so now we have everything ready to go, and let's put it on our board. You might want to measure to make sure you're getting it right in the center and mark it. I am pretty good at centering things, so I eyeballed it. But I checked it before I pressed down, because you could still move it a little bit, typically, right? Okay, and then scrape it down and peel it off, and there we go. We are almost done. Doesn't that look great? I love that copper. It's just so very pretty. So now we need to put the dates along the bottom. You don't have to, of course, but the whole point of this is to help us remember which month and day all the various celebrations are. So I know I personally would find that really helpful to have all the dates along the bottom so that we know actually which month is which, and we don't have to count. It's your choice, though. So I am just using black vinyl here. This font is getting a little small, and I made the mistake of using removable vinyl instead of permanent vinyl. Don't make that mistake, guys. Use your permanent vinyl for this. All right, so there we go. We've got it all weeded, and then we're going to reuse the transfer tape from before. I'm still using the same piece of transfer tape. I cut it, to put the sunflower on, but I'm just gonna use the bits that I have. And it's fine. I often reuse my transfer tape until it just doesn't stick anymore. All right, so make sure that's down, and then carefully peel it off. And then carefully line up your months above your eye hooks, or eye screws, I mean. And then press everything down. And then peel off your transfer tape. There we go. Now, step 5 is time to attach your date markers to your celebration board. So it's almost ready. It's looking great, isn't it? It's time to put the markers themselves suspended from these eye screws. So here I have all my markers, hearts and circles. I'm going to use circles for birthdays and hearts for anniversaries. You can do whatever you want. You can use totally different shapes. I did experiment with trying to use like flower petals and leaves, but it didn't really quite look right because of the hole needing to be there, and you need to have enough material so that your hole doesn't want to just, fall out or be cut out or whatever. So circles and hearts actually work just fine. And you're going to end up lining them up under these eye screws, and we'll be attaching them of course, but it's going to look something like this once you have all of your date markers on. First, I'm going to mark each of my date markers so that I know where I'm going to be putting them. So I'm just putting the first name and the date itself. And then I'm going to use these jump rings, put them through the holes on each of the date markers, and I'm going to attach them as I need to the other markers. And then I will attach them to the eye screw that I screwed in at the bottom of the board. So I'm using more than one jump ring from the eye screw to the very first marker because I want to encourage it to lay flat, right? We want to do everything we can to encourage these to lay flat because they'll want to spin a little bit. And again, this is why you want to have your eye screws closer to the back of your board so that the wall will help your date markers lay flat against the wall once it's hung up. All right, so all of our date markers are on. All of my names and dates are on. Oh, and I want to make a note. You'll notice that I wrote these out by hand. I initially tried to create vinyl letters and dates for all of these markers, but it was so tiny. It was so very tiny. I tried a wide variety of vinyl. I tried sharpening my blade. It was just too small. You might have better luck, but in the end, I decided it was actually better to handwrite these because when I go to add a celebration or birthday to this board, it could be years from now, right? It totally could be years from now, and I might not remember the exact size or even the font that I used or anything because I have Swiss cheese memory. I don't remember things like that. By handwriting it, it's going to be so much easier to add these. So you can do what you want, but I decided to handwrite them, and I just used a Cricut marker, by the way. So of course you could just write it with the Cricut marker in your machine too. This is what my board looked like, and I think it turned out great. I love it. In retrospect, I might have wanted to paint my markers copper since I had this whole copper theme going on. And I might still do that. I might just take these off and paint them in copper. But then again, they might not be so easy to read the dates. And I really want this to be functional. I want to be able to see those dates at a glance. I've already decided to hang this up in the hallway between my kitchen and the door to my garage, so I constantly see it. So now I have no excuse to ever forget a birthday or celebration. So these celebration and birthday boards are really pretty easy to make. You don't need to use vinyl either. You can just use paint if you want. And this is a fun project to get creative with. You can do a lot of cool things with this. And as I'm sure you've already guessed, these birthday boards make wonderful gifts. You can make them for everyone in your family so they can't ever forget an important date, or make them for all of your friends. Just be sure to give them plenty of the little date markers so that they can add all of the important dates that they need. And that's it for today. Remember, if you can tell me what you want to make, I can show you how to make it. Until next time.